So, we're already wasting precious, precious time.
Well, you didn't even start with the intro.
Not yet. Not yet. And that's because you haven't earned it yet.
Oh.
Welcome to the Hype and Cowl podcast, where we discuss what's been done, what's done right, and what's just hype in comic books and pop culture. I'm your host, Ryan Hoffman, and with me here today is Santa's little helper, Ryan Brungard.
Let's get it on.
All right, so jumping into some news, diving in, if you know what I'm saying. We're talking about Aquaman. It's no surprise that it was a big splash, especially in the box office. Not quite to BVS numbers, but so far surpassed Wonder Woman. Everyone's about this movie. I haven't seen it. You've seen it. No need for a review, but what do you think?
Just going to tell you right now, my pants were wet after I saw it. It's definitely worth seeing in theaters. I'd go again.
Does it look good?
Yeah, I would say it's on par with Avatar, if you've ever seen Avatar. Wow. I would say CGI and everything's on par with that. It looks pretty good.
I saw something about James Wan being upset that the VFX for Aquaman wasn't being taken into consideration in regards to some sort of award.
You mean like the designer awards?
I don't know. Yeah, Aquaman, sure. DC, they're doing it. They're making movies. They're coming back up. Matter of fact, I saw that Ben Affleck's official Facebook page put that classic armored Batman next to the bat signal, the BVS image, as his cover photo on Facebook.
Really?
So what does that mean?
Does that mean he's coming back?
I don't know if he ever left, to be honest. But as far as I'm concerned, he's gone. I would be surprised. At this point, I would be honestly surprised. But, I mean, maybe not so much now that Aquaman's doing well. And you know what I've also been surprised about?
What's that?
I am surprised that we have seen almost zero Wonder Woman 84 press or promos. Nothing. We've seen a few images that they released months and months ago. Months and months ago.
Well, isn't that coming out next year sometime? Or this year sometime?
I have no idea when it's supposed to come out, but I am just surprised that we have seen nothing. I want to see some Wonder Woman stuff. I mean, not really. Like I said, I'm just surprised because what DC does, in contrast to what Marvel does, or what Marvel especially used to do, is they announce 40 movies that are never going to get made.
Right.
A Buddy Cop Green Lantern movie, a Cyborg movie, a Flashpoint movie, and they even went as far to announce a Plastic Man movie.
Why?
I guess that was their big comeback after, Infinity War. If Ben Schwartz gets the role, he quickly took to social media to say, hey, I'd love to play this character. I'd love to see him as that character. A lot of people know Ben Schwartz as John Ralphio from Parks and Rec. He actually did some of the voicing for BB-8 in Star Wars The Force Awakens, and he does some funny shit. And by that, I mean, I don't know him from anything else.
Fair enough.
But Parks and Rec is, it's my jam and lamp. Let's be real. Or let's lie to each other. Speaking about movies and speaking about the box office, Mortal Engines. Have you seen this movie?
I have.
You've seen this movie. You're a patronizing son of a bitch when it comes to the cinema.
I love the cinema. Growing up, we'd go to the Dollar Cinema. That's all I used to do. I saw The Mummy 12 times.
Oh, wow.
In a weekend.
So, Mortal Engines did not do well. It lost almost $100 million.
It should.
I feel like they're swinging a little late when it comes to the whole, young adult book genre. I'm sure it's not a good movie. I haven't really seen any good reviews on it. I just know that they lost a lot of money making this movie.
Well, it took them too long. I mean, the trailer came out, 2 years ago? The very first, teaser trailer was 2 years ago, and it just took them forever to get this movie made?
And you can't just put Peter Jackson's name on a novel series and be like, oh, he's going to do this just like he did Lord of the Rings.
No.
As a matter of fact, I've seen where Peter Jackson, after he took the hit, because it's always the director that takes the hit.
Peter Jackson was just the producer here, wasn't he? I don't even think he was a director.
Well, if you're going to be a dick about it.
Just going to tell you, I don't think he's the director.
We'll fucking see.
Top result, 10 biggest bombs of 2018.
Did he direct this motherfucker or what?
I'm looking, hold on. Yeah, so the screenplay was by Peter Jackson. The director is Christian Rivers.
Good. Well, Peter Jackson has gone to say, and by gone to say, I mean he has said this to someone, or he has just posted it online. Peter Jackson has gone on record to say that after taking this hit, he just wants to go back to his roots and start making some fucked up, bloody horror movies.
Hey, I'm down for that too.
And for anyone aware of Peter Jackson's original recipe, they'll know names like Brain Dead, Bad Taste, Meet the Feebles, and The Frighteners. We'll just have to see what he decides to do. So here's a little bit of news. Here's more news. Here's some news. Got some news for you.
What's that news? What is it? It's new. It's news.
So we're all familiar with the character Thanos.
Correct.
What a time to be alive where Thanos is a household name. The Mad Titan himself. Everyone knows that name. I think even my mom knows Thanos.
My grandmother knows Thanos.
You know, of course, Thanos, as well as your grandmother, was created by Jim Starlin and Mike Friedrich. Created in 1973. First appeared in the Invincible Iron Man number 55. Once again, if you're not familiar with these facts, you just go speak with your grandmother. She knows. A lot of comic nerds, they're familiar with his goals. The casual moviegoer knows Thanos and his devices. They know his goals. They know his passions. They know his fears. They know what he wants in a woman. We all know Thanos. I would like to introduce you to a Thanos you might not know. And this Thanos, full name Thanos Simonatoi, is a carnivorous dinosaur that they have recently discovered in Brazil.
Really?
And they gave him the name.
So why did he get the name Thanos?
I think maybe just because he was mean as fuck. I was hoping that he had a goofy looking dino chin, but no, they just thought it'd be cool to name him Thanos. So you're not even gonna ask me in which era this dinosaur existed?
There's different eras for dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, which era was it?
I'll let you guess.
I'm no fucking dinosaur expert.
I'll let you guess. That's why I said I'll let you guess. I didn't say I'll let you surmise or deduce. I'll let you guess. Motherfucker.
The second.
Well, I mean, let's...
Would that be correct? You're looking at me.
Answer A, Jurassic period. B, Cretaceous. C, Triassic. Or D, Joseon Dynasty.
I want to go with D just because, but I'm assuming it's B.
No, it's Cretaceous.
Oh, all right. Well, isn't that B? I thought that was B.
No, wait.
Yeah, that was B.
What'd you say?
I said B.
You said B?
Yeah.
I thought you said D.
No, I said I want to go with D, but I'm going to go with B.
I thought D was Cretaceous.
No.
So this dinosaur existed in the Cretaceous period.
That's interesting.
Think about that. All right, so some more news real quick, and I really hate that we're going to play a new game. Okay. Welcome to our new segment, listeners. The segment is I'm going to read the headline of an article, and I'm going to take it from there. So, we'll see how it goes. Don't take everything too literal. I will do my best to report on the news as I have it imagined. You guys don't care about the fucking details. I'm over here. I'm flipping. I'm scrolling. I'm rolling on ecstasy.
Oh.
This table tastes so good.
How's it feel?
It's porous. It's textured. It's almost like an iguana's tail, like an iguana's scales.
Ooh. Like
the top of an iguana's head. See, all the listeners are waiting for me to say an iguana's dick, but I'm not. I'm not going to. So Ray Park, famous for his role as Darth Maul,
okay,
as well as Snake Eyes. He's a wushu guy. He's a Chinese martial artist. He gets it in. You see him at these cons. You can see him in these videos. He's spinning the sabers. He's doing his tricks. Huge fan favorite. And
right.
Not a lot of people know this, but he actually reprised his role as Darth Maul in Han Solo.
Really?
He actually reprised his role as Darth Maul in Solo.
Really?
Yeah. But he didn't do the voice. Someone else did the voice for whatever fucking reason. I'm not sure.
Why wouldn't he do the voice?
I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's kind of... Why pay two people when you can pay one?
He will not be coming back as Snake Eyes. They are doing a prequel. They are doing a Snake Eyes prequel. So you can't really hate on the fact too hard, considering that he's only been getting older since those movies have been made.
Right.
And they're going to need someone younger.
Can't they just CGI a young new face on him, though?
I wish they would. The most they can do is let him have a hand in the choreography. Because, I mean, he's a stellar martial artist. He's in great shape. Like, I'm not usually into white guys, but no, he looks good. Surprisingly good is what I'm saying. He still has the moves, for sure.
So he can still twist the sabers.
Oh, yeah, he can do the thing.
Spin the swords.
Oh, yeah, he can do the thing.
Throw hockey pucks.
The force is strong with him. What's your favorite part of the G.I. Joe?
Of, like, the toys or the movies?
The toys.
Does his elbows bend?
Yeah.
They do? So it's full functioning arms.
Some of them have a kung fu grip. Some of them have a karate chop action. Some of them have a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Is Channing Tatum in there?
Speaking of Channing Tatum, I wonder if Marvel is ever going to make that Gambit movie.
I don't know.
You remember that?
That was supposed to be out this year.
Yeah. I think he was a good choice for it, for sure.
I think he could have pulled it off.
The ladies love Channing Tatum, and most of all, the ladies love Gambit. He's got the accent. He's got the jacket. He's got the hair. He's got the cards. And, Gambit's powers are pretty sexual, too.
Doesn't he have like a stare or something?
No.
Just like looks into your soul.
He can turn anything that he touches into kinetic energy, but only inorganic material. He's not going to pet your dog and then,
No more dog.
He's not going to bend down, touch on your kitty. Or that's suggestive. He's not, yeah. So he can't, like, touch a child and make it explode. He's not going to shake the president's hand.
And boom.
And assassinate him.
Well, someone needs to. Don't leave that in there.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
Don't do it.
Oh, I'm gonna. I mean, we're talking about comic books. We could be talking about any fictional president. Or Donald J. Trump. 45th President of the United States of America. So, speaking of comic book movies, as per usual, I would like to talk about some comic book movies that you might not even know are comic book movies.
Ooh, fun facts. I want to hear them.
Yeah, very fun. Very fun. Very factual as well. First one on the list, gotta kick it off with this one because it's very beloved within our generation. And also, they're about to release a new installment of this franchise. That franchise being The Men in Black.
Ooh, mm-hmm. Yeah, originally comic book.
So this comic book was originally published under some, arbitrary publisher. Who gives a shit? Then it was immediately acquired by Malibu Comics, which a lot of people are familiar with. And then afterwards, guess who bought it?
Was it Marvel?
It was Marvel. And they actually did a reissue and a new run when the movie was in theaters in 1997, man.
Really?
Forever ago. 1997. Damn. So the comic book, it still had J and K. Mm-hmm. They used a neuralizer. The movie wasn't a drastic departure, except for the fact that in the comic books, they were fighting mutants, they were fighting monsters, demons, much more than just aliens.
Ooh, that'd be fun. They should have left that in.
A lot of people that know who the Mothman is, West Virginia cryptid, folklore legend, his story involves the Men in Black heavily.
Really?
People asking around, shady figures seen, shady figures felt, and we'll see. We'll see if they come for us.
Are you a yes or a no on the new Men in Black movie coming out?
I think it's going to be cool. I really like Tessa Thompson. Here's a fun fact. She's American. She's not British.
Huh.
I know that, her accent in Ragnarok is spot on, but no, she's American, man. She's American. Men in Black, man. I'm a Men in Black fan. I love the noisy cricket, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Bring it on in. Bring it on in.
Could you just imagine, Will Smith in the background of, Avengers?
So, technically, Josh Brolin has played 3 Marvel characters.
Yeah, you could say that, huh?
Young Agent K, Cable, and Thanos.
He has a thing for superheroes.
Or at least getting paid to do movies.
Well, that too. So what else do you have on your list here of movies that people may or may not know, or comic books to begin with?
So the next one is also a fun one, The Mask.
Oh, The Mask.
The Mask.
You know, when you say The Mask, the only thing I can think of, Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Here's a fun fact. Or here's a fact. The Mask was really Jim Carrey's first real movie.
Really?
And not only that, but it was also Cameron Diaz's first movie.
Oh.
And Cameron Diaz, she might have been an intern at the modeling agency that worked in the same lot or the same building that they were doing The Mask in, and they were like, yo, send us over some models because we have a female lead that we need filled. I think she might have just been bringing them the list. And they're like, you know what? You got something weird about you. We're making a weird movie. And that's a pretty extensive part because there's dance sequences and shit.
Right.
It's a wild movie. A wild movie and a wild comic book. So the main difference between the two is that the Mask comic book was ultra violent.
Right.
Super violent. And even though the original Mask might have been Stanley Ipkiss, there had been many masks.
Right.
And also he was super OP, super overpowered. His powers include, but are not limited to, energy projection, matter and energy manipulation, psionic abilities such as telekinesis, telepathy, astral projection, precognition, immortality,
Jesus.
except for removing his mask. Increased intelligence, reality warping to some degree, superhuman strength, durability, speed, and agility, and invulnerability. But once again, he's not invulnerable to you taking his mask off.
Man, this guy.
We see a majority of these abilities demonstrated in the movie.
Correct.
You know, reality warping as far as turning people he interacts with into cartoonish characters. You know what I mean?
Right.
Smacking someone with a big mallet. There's a scene where he's being disarmed, but they're just pulling weapons and weapons and weapons out of his pockets.
Right.
And that's essentially a form of reality warping.
It's wild to think that how violent that comic book is. They also have a mass cartoon on the Disney Channel.
They originally started making this movie as if it was going to be a super violent movie. But then they're just like, fuck it. He is a goofy character. As a matter of fact, in the comic books, he's referred to as Big Head. And they didn't start calling him the Mask until after the movie was released. The Mask is a Dark Horse property, but he's done a lot of crossovers with, he's done a Lobo crossover. He's done a crossover with the Joker. Crossover with some, other properties. Everyone likes the Mask. Everyone knows Somebody Stop Me.
Right.
Everybody knows Smokin'. And my personal favorite, Party, because I gotta.
Right.
Next on the list is Sabrina the Teenage Witch, original Archie comic. I was thinking that maybe they introduced her into Riverdale first.
Right.
Before they gave her the new series on Netflix. They do mention Riverdale in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new Netflix series.
They do, really?
They do.
Huh.
And it's crazy to think that might be in a shared universe, considering the fact that Riverdale's on the CW.
Right.
And Sabrina obviously is a Netflix exclusive. The new Sabrina series is wild. I definitely would recommend it to anyone that's into Satan, black magic, or witchcraft, or, young female shenanigans. One, if not the other, if not all three. And really, what's the difference between any of those? Yeah, female shenanigans, right there with Satan worship and black magic. So as my wife would say, you're either skating with Satan or you're sneezing with Jesus. I know of a certain instance where Jughead lost his dog. And by lost, I mean his dog died. And he took the dog to Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And she brought him back. But then the dog bit Jughead and gave him some sort of weird zombie rabies. And they just started eating the gang.
Fair enough.
Archie and Betty and Veronica and the whole crew. So another comic book movie that you might not know is a comic book movie is the Chris Evans film, Snowpiercer. It's originally a French title, which I won't even attempt. Anyone who has seen it will agree with me that it is pretty fucking crazy. It's a pretty crazy flick, Ryan.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's got everything you want in a movie. It's got high stakes. It's got fast trains. It's got cannibalism. It's got Captain America eating babies.
It's got action. It's got drama. It's got romance.
It's got Does it have romance?
It doesn't.
It does not have.
So there's a YouTuber, Rhino Stew, who has this theory that Snowpiercer is a sequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't want to ruin the movie, but I will. Spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 2010 or whatever the fuck it came out. The only thing that will make you think it's a sequel is how accurate it is to the original Willy Wonka movie.
Right.
Scene by scene or theme for theme, I think to the extent that it mirrors Willy Wonka proves that it's not so much a sequel, but more so a reimagining.
Right.
Now, I will say that the writer of the original French graphic novel, he has never stated anything close to the fact that this was even inspired by Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Right.
But we're talking about a French indie writer. We have huge companies like Walt Disney ripping off international properties. We all know the story of Kimba the White Lion. Of course, they didn't go out to say that this was an homage or this was inspired by. It's not a stretch to believe that an indie comic book writer might be influenced by an American movie and not put that fact on blast when promoting his own story.
Right.
I mean, there's plenty of differences. We're talking about violence, cannibalism, the post-apocalypse. These are some pretty dark themes. And it takes a sharp eye to really see the parallels. But once you see a man, that you can't escape him. If you want to hear a chilling monologue done by Captain America himself, reminiscing on the flavor and textures of a young child in a 100% cannibalistic way, nothing sexual.
Right.
This is the movie for you. By which I mean this is the movie for me.
It's got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes still. Solid movie. Solid movie making.
Yum, yum, yum. So one
lot of
more.
tomato.
Just one more.
One
okay?
more.
Let me
One
get
more.
one more in.
Go for it.
This is more of an honorable mention. By now, everybody knows. And I'm talking about Blade.
Oh, Blade.
Wesley Snipes, the Blade. What's Blade's name?
Isn't it Blade?
No, his real name. It's Eric something.
Eric Sanders.
No, Eric.
Saunders.
No, don't tell me.
Well, if you look up Blade,
Don't.
it just says Wesley Snipes, and there's no name.
Damn. Well, there you go. Eric. God damn it. Brooks? That doesn't sound right. It's not Brooks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Oh.
It is. It's Eric Brooks.
In a thunder rolls.
Good job. You got it.
So, of course, back in the day, no one was aware of the fact that Blade was a Marvel property. After the movie got made by New Line Cinemas, of course, New Line had already made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And I'm thinking they might have made Spawn and another title as well. The Crow, possibly. Blade was a good movie, man. I think it holds up. Like, even like the effects, not so much in like Blade 2 where they do all the weird rubbery full body CGI fight scenes. You know, Blade came out strong, man. Everyone liked Blade. Comic book nerds, jocks, dads, white people, black
Loved
people.
it.
Like,
White people loved it.
a lot of people who were watching the 90s animated Spider-Man series, they were familiar with the Blade character because he had made a few appearances.
Yep, right?
I don't think it wasn't until the movie where they actually gave him extra abilities. Matter of fact, I don't even think he was a vampire.
Yeah, I don't think he was either.
Like, I think he was just a vampire hunter. He was just a homie. I think his mom was killed by a vampire, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers. Blood-sucking motherfuckers and or motherfucking bloodsuckers.
He was on a mission.
You know, Wesley Snipes, black belt in Taekwondo, trained with Billy Blanks. Billy Blanks being the founder of Taibo. One of the most feared martial arts in all of the world, Taibo. It's Taibo, man. It's Taibo.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take your word for it.
So yeah, not a lot of people were aware of the fact that it was a comic book character, especially a Marvel character, even years and years after, even after the original Iron Man movie, after the Marvel Cinematic Universe started growing. Wesley Snipes himself has been saying for a while now, so it's really hard to take him seriously, but he's been saying that he's been talking to Marvel.
Stand by.
Stand by.
I need some sugar.
Dude, you got some dabs?
I gotta fly tomorrow. I ain't got time for that shit. You get fucked up?
Shit, I'll get
You want
fucked up.
Pop-Tart? Pop-Tart at snack time?
Can you put dabs on Pop-Tarts?
You good? A beer? Jesus Christ. Let me get this out of the way so it's not all...
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Alright.
Shout out to my boy Jeremiah Goff. He knows what that sound be like. He knows what that sound means. Wesley Snipes claims that he has been in talks with Marvel about bringing Blade back, bringing the Blade back. There was a live-action Blade series on the new TNN, which used to be plain old TNN, which is now known as Spike TV. Playing the titular role of Eric Brooks, Blade, was a man by the name of Sticky Fingers. He was an actor.
Fingers?
He was a rapper. He was a producer. He was a DJ. I don't know if he was a DJ, but with a name like Sticky Fingers. And like that was his working name.
Sticky
Fingers as Blade. It might have been Sticky Fingers. It might have been Fangaz. So, not a lot of people remember that version of Blade. And I think it was supposed to be a continuation of the cinematic version. But whatever. Who cares? But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Wesley Snipes, the Blade. He could easily play Blade still. I mean, we know that black don't crack. And Wesley Snipes is inarguably the blackest.
Dude, how wild would it be if you had a fucking podcast just
about Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts, that's it. That's all you talked about.
I think that would be a very easy podcast to do. It would probably be very comfortable. Not a lot of pressure.
You could break it down each week. Like, oh, they got strawberry? Let me break down the strawberry flavor for you. Next week, you got unfrosted strawberry.
Oh, shit. See, that's what Terry be fucking with, the unfrosted shit.
Surprisingly enough, unfrosted Pop-Tarts have more sugar than frosted Pop-Tarts.
Wow. Here's a fact that may not surprise you. Toaster strudel's much better.
Look, I'm fucking eating this without putting it in a pop in the fucking.
I know. See,
It's
that's
crazy.
a good.
It's crazy.
But that's the good thing about Pop-Tarts. You can't eat a raw ass toaster strudel. I mean, it might be good on a hot day. But anyway, we're not talking about toaster strudels, okay? What we're talking about is that Wesley Snipes. Wesley Snipes claims to be in talks with Marvel about bringing back the Blade, his version. See, what I always thought was cool is that at the time he was pitching this, or straight up fibbing that he was pitching this to Marvel.
Okay.
There was a Blade run where it was actually Blade training his daughter to be a vampire hunter. So it had like a Blade feel, but it also kind of had like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer feel. I feel like that could easily be adapted into a movie.
I'd watch it.
Yeah, you don't have to make it like a family movie or anything, but just, Blade training his teenage daughter how to kill vampires. So, yeah, those are just a couple of movies that you might not know were based off of comic books. And at least one of them, you might not have known that it was a sequel and or reimagining to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
You're going to be thinking about this listening on, you know what? That was some good shit.
Even the Sabrina, like I said, if you haven't watched Sabrina the Teenage Witch on Netflix, do so. You will not believe how satanic it is, and it will make you uncomfortable. You will be fearing for your immortal soul watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch. You will be saying, wow, is it okay that I'm absorbing all this imagery? Hey, listen, the devil is fun. That's what you'll be thinking. So before we get to our movie review, like always, not always, we don't always have a movie review, and I've got some Protect Your Neck news. You know that I support our troops.
I do.
Soulja Boy. The Soulja Boy, he actually got busted by Nintendo for selling repainted emulator consoles from overseas.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, so he went on the record to say that everything's legit, that he doesn't fear any sort of legal ramifications by Nintendo or anyone else, even though he was using blatant IP to promote his product, like Tomb Raider, Nintendo shit. They were being marketed and sold under Soulja Games. I think he had a full console as well as a handheld.
He's also got a phone.
Does he have a phone?
He has a phone as well.
I mean, as long as every single phone has the number of 678-999-8212. He's also got some rip-off Beats by Dre headphones.
Soulja Pods, which are basically just AirPods. The other day, when I was reading the article about how he was taking emulators and just repainting them and then selling them, I was like, there's no way this is real. This is a fake story. Come to find out, real as shit. He's got fake everything. Like, the more you go into this rabbit hole, the crazier the shit gets. Like, I just don't understand this guy. I mean, he's got the right plan, though. Buy something for 40, sell it for 80.
The fact that he has money to invest into these endeavors blows my mind. So he's got to be doing something right.
He's had one song.
And to be fair, he's got a song and a dance.
That is true.
So
yeah.
All right, so let's get to the real shit here.
Let's get to the
off the cuff, because I'm tired of looking at my phone. I'm tired of looking at my notes.
Let's just do some organic, you and me.
So we're in 2019. You're aware of this fact. I would imagine the majority, if not the entirety of our listeners, are well aware of the fact that we are in a brand new year. 2019, man. It's 2019, man.
Happy New Year.
It's 2019. Just because it's 2019 doesn't mean we can't talk about the best movie of 2018.
Boom, best.
And in my opinion, that movie being Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse.
I'd agree with you on that one. I sat next to you in a theater when we saw this.
We saw this together. I mean, it's easily, in my opinion, by which I mean fact, that this movie is the best animated movie of 2018.
Yeah.
Some could argue that it was the best animated movie within the last 10 years, and I would even go as far to say that it's one of the better movies, animated or otherwise, especially one involving a superhero. This one happens to involve many variations and versions on a singular superhero.
Yep.
That superhero being Spider-Man, of course. It was great. It was everything I wanted a Spider-Man movie to be. It was funny. It was emotional. It was action-packed. Lots of twists, lots of turns.
What would you say?
I would say this movie had as many twists as a good hand job.
Oh, shit. Fuck, sign me up.
Yeah. We're not going to break down the synopsis for these people. If you haven't seen it, I would say that anyone who is willing to dedicate any amount of time to listen to us talk about pop culture, I could imagine, or I would at least hope, that they can make the time to see Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, if you're worried about spoilers, just keep listening. We won't spoil it for you. Within the first act, Spider-Man dies. Soon after, Miles Morales takes the mantle after he is bitten by a genetically engineered spider. It's a spider.
That was actually pretty good.
Comic book readers will recognize Miles Morales as the ultimate Spider-Man. Of course, he doesn't exist in a universe where he is the Spider-Man, one and only, but in a universe where there was the Spider-Man, Peter Parker, who, of course, died. Very, very sad. And this was during a whole reboot they were doing with the Ultimate line. And a lot of people weren't really too happy with Miles Morales. Not the fact that he was black and Latino, which I'm sure some fucking douchebags. A lot of people felt like it was forced diversification.
Right.
When really, it was just Brian Michael Bendis' way of saying, Spider-Man doesn't always have to be Peter Parker.
Right.
Much in a way that the Flash doesn't always have to be Barry Allen. Much in a way that the Green Lantern doesn't always have to be Hal Jordan. But for some reason, not with Spider-Man. You got to keep Spider-Man Peter Parker. So, in this movie, which was funny because a lot of the Jake Johnson voiceover stuff in the trailers was actually Chris Pine as Miles' universe's version of Peter Parker, who was the perfect version of Peter Parker. He had the suits, he had the gear, he was loved, he was blonde.
Yeah, he was blonde.
Younger and better looking than the Jake Johnson version. Of course, I love the Jake Johnson version, hilarious. Hiding the fact that he was supposed to be some otherworldly, out of shape, older Peter Parker. You didn't really get that vibe from the trailers. You just thought it was Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Right.
You didn't know it was Peter B. Parker. Both Spider-Gwen and Penny Parker, along with SP//DR, they were all written for the original Spider-Verse story arc that happened a couple years ago. As our Twitter followers will know, that Penny Parker and her robotic pal was actually created by My Chemical Romance frontman Gerard Way.
Now that's an interesting fact.
So all you emo kids out there, there's a Spider-Man for you. And then you have Nick Cage as Spider-Man Noir.
Yep.
And the Spider-Man Noir series are real fucked up. In Spider-Man Noir, the Vulture eats Uncle Ben.
That's just creepy.
It's fucked up, dude. It's real weird. So yeah, the main Spider-Man roster being Miles Morales, Peter B. Parker, Spider-Gwen, Penny Parker, and SP/DR, along with Spider-Ham as well. Yep. John Mulaney. I love John Mulaney, and him as Spider-Ham was just perfect.
Right.
A lot of people have this idea that Spider-Ham was created for the movie, but he's been around for a while. And he comes from a world where they're just all animals. Lee Shriver, excellent as Kingpin. I just don't think I can do it right now. I just don't think I have the energy to convey how much I like this movie. I mean, the animation was on point. A lot of people didn't like the sometimes stuttery motion of the characters, but once again, this is supposed to be comic book-esque.
Yep.
You see that with the dots and the lines in regards to shading. And a lot of people also complained about the fact that the background sometimes looked like it was supposed to be 3D.
Yep, blurry in the background.
In a lot of older comic books, you would have that color beyond the line.
Right.
You would have that misprint. Mm-hmm. And that's what they are trying to harken back to. That's what they are trying to emulate with this weird coloring style they had. Of course, you had a lot of speech bubbles going on, thought bubbles, some internal monologue, and there's even a part in the movie where Miles Morales kind of calls out his internal monologue. Why are my thoughts so loud right now? It's so weird to do a review on a movie that I'm not bitching about. It's so weird to review anything that I'm not bitching about. But it was so well constructed. All the voices were great. The villains were awesome. We had a new version of Doc Ock that had these weird air-filled tentacles.
Yep.
We are introduced to a new version of Scorpion that we haven't seen before. Some sort of Spanish scorpion with bipedal robot legs that actually is segmented into more arachnid-style legs. And then, of course, we have the Prowler, who's not only Miles Morales' uncle, but the Kingpin's right-hand man. And some of you might know that he was actually already portrayed in a Spider-Man movie by Donald Glover, a.k.a. Childish Gambino, in Spider-Man Homecoming. And he even mentions having a nephew.
Right.
in the city, and that's why he doesn't want all those wild guns out on the streets. And actually, even when Peter Parker in Homecoming is analyzing Aaron Davis through his suit, you'll see a display that says Alias the Prowler. What? Who's there?
Don't say that. Shh. Lay down.
You gotta do it like this, watch. So what were your thoughts on Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
It was a good movie. I liked it. Had action. It kept me entertained. Like I said, I saw it twice. So the first time I was kind of just paying attention to the main character and kind of the storyline. The second time I was kind of looking at the background, paying attention to what was going on in the background. There's a lot of things happening in the background. There's a lot of stuff you just don't notice the first time around. Like you said, like the blurry backgrounds and stuff like that. I didn't notice it the first time. I was perfectly fine with it. The second time, I noticed it because I was looking in the background. I wasn't looking at the main character. So it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah, I think the only thing that I was disappointed in was the lack of cameos, aside from the 90s animated series. But there's so many more Spider-Men. As a matter of fact, I think I've read an article recently where they said that next time they're going to make sure to include the Japanese Spider-Man.
That'd be pretty cool.
Which, of course, we know to be a live-action version of the character.
Right. Now
they can't say that we didn't do Tobey Maguire and we didn't do Andrew Garfield because we're only doing animated Spider-Man. Because now they're saying that they're going to heavily consider using the Japanese version in the next Spider-Verse movie, which we know is inevitable.
Right.
Not only are they doing an Into the Spider-Verse 2, but they're also doing a Spider-Woman spinoff starring Spider-Gwen, Silk, and Jessica Drew, the original Spider-Woman.
Ooh.
Silk being a character who was also bitten by the same spider that Peter Parker was, but she had actually gone into hiding afterwards. So they're already taking this ball and running with it.
Right. Which they should, because, I mean, as long as they keep it up to the standards of the first one, they should be just fine.
Sony is trying to patent this animation style.
Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is something different for sure. And also the music in this movie was on point.
That is true. The music was great.
I mean, you get a lot of awesome 90s hip hop. There's some Biggie. There's some Skee-Lo. And of course, we know that Post Malone and Sway Lee did that Sunflowers track for the movie, which is a fun song, especially in the movie. There were a few scenes where Miles was singing that song, and both scenes were pretty hilarious.
Right.
There's just so many references to mention. There's just so much in this movie. Once again, if you haven't seen this movie, then you have no business talking. You know what? Unfollow me right fucking now. Unfollow, unsubscribe.
Be easy.
No, I'm serious.
Be easy with the opinions.
I'm serious.
What rating would you give Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse?
I would give it 10 Post Malones out of 10 Post Malones.
Damn.
And I stand by that. And I feel it. Just saying it out loud feels good.
Mm.
So, speaking of opinions, for those of you who have listened to the most recent episode of the Imaginary Tambourine podcast, the Imaginary Ramblings podcast, I assure you that we had no intention on fighting anyone. We just wanted to make sure that we tagged them, because, whatever. You know what? Fight us. Fight us, goddammit. You want me... Listen, I can't respect your opinion if you can't fight for it. No, we're cool. We're all cool. I don't know. Listen, I'll fight him. I'll fight you, Ryan. You know what? Ryan and I are doing this. We're doing this episode relatively late after a hard day's work, and we're pooped. We're pooped. So you're lucky we got as far as we did, to be honest. Because I almost quit a few times. I almost quit the whole podcast tonight.
Jesus.
I'm so tired. I'm just like, we're not doing this anymore. I got a couple glasses of scotch in though.
Well, that's all that matters.
Working on my beer. I'm just trying to chill with you, Ryan. I'm just trying to relax. Ryan's got he's got big plans this weekend, going to New York City.
The Big Apple.
The Big Sneeze.
Oh, shit.
The Big Sneeze. Anyway, we're going to try to do some more for you. We're going to try to do some stories, some live stuff, who knows? We do our best, but we don't care. Ryan and I, we upload a lot of videos, a lot of stories, a lot of more in-depth conversation. We just don't make this content available to you. You know,
right.
you give, but you got to keep some for yourself. We are thinking about maybe revitalizing the Patreon and making some more exclusive content for you, the listener, and for your children.
We're also going to have shirts.
We're going to have shirts. We're going to have laces. We're going to have headphones. We're going to have gravy.
Gravy. Funny story about that.
You want to tell the story?
No.
Okay. Well, I want you guys to know that 2018 might have been hard for you, but 2019's gonna be even fucking harder. Damn, that's louder than your dick.
How do you know how loud my dick is?
I can hear it.